Hey, look, thanks very much for joining us. I've got Steve Baxter here today with Janine Allis. We did a video last week, or studio video last week with Glenn Richards, and we've done a few others. Given what's happening with the COVID-19 corona, the current health situation we've got, which is manifesting in an economic situation, I thought we'd have a chat with Janine, and she's graciously agreed. Talk about things that entrepreneurs can do from the service industry, so less tech startup, more FMCG, food and beverage and whatnot. Janine's obviously got a lot of experience there. So thank you very much, Janine.
Look, I have a lot of experience in business, but I don't think anyone has got the answers to some of the challenges we've got. And I think we're sort of making it up and learning it on the way. And unfortunately, there's no winners in this, particularly in retail. You know, we like to bitch and carry on about the government, but I think...
Hey, Jeff.
My husband. Yeah, we like to bitch and carry on about the government, but you know, I think they're doing as much as they can under the circumstances. But it's certainly, you know, it's certainly not a situation that that we have all the answers for. And unfortunately, a lot of people are going to lose their jobs because it's just that, you know, you have to shut. I mean, you currently the shopping centres are open, yet we're not supposed to leave home. But the reality, no one's open. None of the shops in the shopping centres are open anyway. And it was interesting because we were looking at, we were following the Canadian model, and they did the same thing. They were saying basically that the shopping centres are open, but all the shops were shut. So, you know, I think, you know, the one good thing is we've got other countries to sort of follow their bouncing ball. But you know, at the end of the day, it's, you know, reducing your costs so you survive to the other end of it. So then you can actually be better and stronger. I think the key thing though is there's a lot we can't do. You know, we can't get customers in. There's a lot we can't do, but what can we do? You know, is your business have the ability to go online? What can you do to start planning now for your relaunch? How can you, you know, keep in contact with your teams at all times? So when you online again or you're trading again, that you've got these great staff that you've developed over the years. And it's, you know, no one's pointing fingers and blaming at the moment. People are just in solution modes. And so what can you do?
I'm really liking what I'm seeing out there. There's a lot of staff and management have come together to some really, you know, everyone's in the same boat. So there's a lot of cooperation out there, which is great, because if it was the opposite, I think we'd be in a lot of trouble. I just want to dig in quickly. So this is actually, you know, unheard of. This is unprecedented, to use a term we've used a lot this year in Australia. Now you started Boost in 2000. Did you start before or after that little recession, post-GST, post-Olympic bump that we had? Were you after that or before that?
Look, it was really interesting. There was a GFC, but we didn't even feel it. You know, people stopped buying that second pair of Nike runners, but they still could afford a $6 smoothie. So we barely felt it that year. So I know that a lot of other industries, you know, did get smashed, but we didn't. So for me, as far as I'm concerned, this is our biggest and scariest blip. Not so blip, what would you call it? An atomic bomb.
Oh yeah, it's pretty thermonuclear.
Yeah, but look, you know, the thing is, you know, we will come out the other end of it. You know, we're not talking about, you know, because every single time in business we talk about, yeah, what are our comps? Are we meeting budget? Are we growing on budget? I mean, those conversations have gone completely out the window, and it's like, how do we preserve cash? And how do we get to the other end of it, bigger, better, stronger? And that's, I think, the message is there's a lot we can't do, but what can you do?
Yeah, cash is king, isn't it? On the show a lot, you spoke a lot about supply chain interruptions. I mean, every time a food business came in, you just almost shuddered because you could see the problems in their future. Is there anything in the past like that that's helped you in the current situation?
No, I don't think there's any situation that's happened in the past that can currently help anyone in a situation. I think the key thing in these situations is communication. You know, talk to your suppliers, talk to your landlords. I mean, the big problem that all of the retailers are collectively singing the song is, yep, we can see a solution to the staff. Yep, thank you, government, for doing that. But what is our solution to our rent, which is, you know, for retail is one of your biggest expenses. And, you know, you can't always rely on the good-heartedness of your landlord, who will just go, mate, you've got to pay, bad luck, you know.
That's it. Thanks for that bank guarantee. Thank you very much. Yeah.
I know. Yeah. Woohoo. Good on you. And can I have another one? So it is, I think the government, unfortunately for the landlords, well, not fortunately for retail and for the survival of retail and jobs and the businesses after this, I think they have to sort of do some sort of look that if we're in hibernation, you're in hibernation, like no gas, no electricity, no rent, no anything, because that's the only way businesses will be able to open their doors. And you've also got to remember, Steve, that at the other end of this, it's not going to suddenly the lights have come on and it's all back to normal. There's going to be a period of probably 6 months, if not longer, for us to get back to the levels that we were before this. I mean, this is just a, hello, okay, it's all over, thank you.
You don't think there'll be a level of pent-up demand that's going to come and burst through for a while?
No, because I think that there's going to be a level of, still going to be a level of fear. There's going to be a level of unemployment that we haven't seen before. And yes, in some areas, maybe there's built up demand, but there's, the people are going to be also, I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm logically going, okay, we lower the curve. It looks like we're doing a great job in Australia lowering the curve, but that also means a lot of us won't have it, which means we weren't immune to it. So then what happens at the other end? So we open up again and we're suddenly in contact with each other again. And, do we get another burst and we are in quarantine again? So there's a lot of unknowns that we're sort of dealing with. And so one thing I think you can guarantee is it won't just get back to normal straight away. I think, maybe in 12 months' time when we're having a chat, it may be, but I think it'll take 12 months. And I think it will have to take either a really good treatment or an inoculation of some sort to be a game changer. Other than that, I think we'll be bumping along the bottom.
All right, so I suppose those macro issues aside, getting back to the business stuff, how do you approach communicating with employees? Is it daily? Is it weekly? What process have you used, or what methodology have you used there?
Normally I'd be saying, weekly, off you go. But because of the amount of different things that are popping up, I think as soon as there is new news or new information, I think you should go out and talk to the customer, talk to the franchisees and the staff. I mean, right now I'm in the process of calling all of our franchisees and just saying hi, because the thing is, there is business, but there's also a human touch. People are reacting differently. We've got a range of humans that say it'll be fine, rock on, and other people going, I am so scared out of my wits. So, and you've got everyone in between. So I think just sort of touching base and going, hey, we're in it together. This is what we can do together. We'll be fine. Whether it's staff, franchisees, suppliers, all your key stakeholders. Just keeping in contact with them and over communicating. I think at the end of the day, we're all humans and we're all going through this together, and we've all got elderly people we know of, and we all have our kids that we want to protect. So we are genuinely in this together. And if some people are coming out punching or not being supportive, it's a fear response, but it's also the wrong response.
It always fascinated me when I learned that you were on the board of an AFL football team. So you just don't come across as that sporty, Janine. I'm sorry.
You are kidding.
No, that maths, you had some issues there. So,
mate,
so I'm wondering,
you think I played netball for 40 years and I played at the top levels in early state league. So, mate, I'm sorry. Did you not watch Survivor? Did you not know that I actually smashed a lot of those guys in the challenges? Thank you very much.
I watched an episode and a half, I have to admit, but
okay.
You know why I watched it, because they were anyway. Yeah, I'm still not going to do it.
You go back, Steve Baxter, and you go and have a look. Go to Template, and you download season 4, and you will ring me and apologise for your comments saying I'm not sporty.
I remember you on the pole. Remember that part? The pole dancing.
Yeah.
So
did you not see my headstand?
Is there experience? That's right, the yoga as well. Is there experience from that really quite unusual corporate role that has helped you in this situation? Do you think? I'm having a bit of fun, but trying to get into the pandemic as well. So
yeah, look, I think I will, because we spoke about Survivor and how athletic I was in Survivor, Steve Baxter. I think when I was there and everything gets taken away from you, the level of appreciation and was actually extraordinary when I came back. I appreciated my husband, I appreciated food, I appreciated everything. Bed. I'm feeling this is very similar for me. I'm feeling that things have been taken away from us. In many ways, our freedom to go to the restaurants, our freedom to walk in a group, our freedom to hang out with friends. So that there is also a level, that similar type feeling of a level of appreciation that's coming back because of that as well. So look, I think that there will be a lot of good that comes from it. If you think about it, you and I both love animals. And this has come from the cruelty of humans to animals. Those wet markets are horrific. And to think, and to, you know, and it's like karma, you know, so you treat other animals like that, it'll come back and bite you. And it has, and it's bitten us with a tsunami. So, you know, I think that there's so much we can take out of this at the other end of it, and gratefulness and not entitlement. But the other thing, Steve, our generation and even our kids' generation have not had it hard. We never had World War I. We were young when the Vietnam War was around. So, you know, no one's got much resilience. And so, you know, people, you know, unemployment's never been a problem. You know, we've had it good. And so I think there'll be we'll come out the other end with, I think, a lot more gratefulness and hopefully a lot more appreciation.
There's going to be an adjustment in society, a lot of ends, like you said, the wet markets, right through to HR practices, I think, in general in Australia.
Yeah.
So,
well, look at, I mean, we should have learned the lesson in England with mad cow. You know, you don't feed cow to cow.
don't feed bats to humans, and it's all good.
Hello, you don't. And look what happens when you do shit like that. Sorry, it's just cruel and wrong.
Are there specific tools in business that you're finding invaluable in this current crisis? Be it software, be it software, be it ideologies, methodologies, anything like that. You know, I've just lost you.
I'll look up, you know, pins and the. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I've got you back now. So are there any specific tools
clear.
that you use in business that are useful?
Oh, look, only the obvious ones, which is, you know, the Zooms and the, you know, Microsoft Teams, you know, the team ones. They're the, you know, the big, to be able to keep connected. Look, you know, we were already quite across the tech, you know, with regard to knowing what sales we're doing, and, you know, we track, you know, weather and labour. So we all do that anyway. So really, I think it's just really the, you know, how we're communicating and using some of the, you know, the platforms, but really nothing really. I mean, we've still got a lot of our Betty stores. We've probably closed 100 Boost stores, and we've closed probably 15 Betty's Burgers, and we're just monitoring them on a day-to-day basis. But so really, it's kind of, in some respects, business as usual, but in a strange way. Like, you know, you have to protect your staff, which you want to. You know, you have to protect your customers. So it's just every day we're implementing new things, which, you know, it's for humans, we're not that agile. So we've had to be really agile.
How are you protecting the staff? You've got to reopen at some point. So what are you doing to keep staff? I mean, it sounds like you've stood staff down, and that's really, really unfortunate, this whole thing, obviously. I don't want to make light of that at all, but do you have a strategy to keep them engaged or do something, or?
Yeah, look, we just, you know, if they're in store, they're in store on their own. So, you know, so people have to wait for a long time for a smoothie if it's busy. If they are, you know, we have all the sanitizations, and we're cleaning all surfaces. Like it's pretty full on in store
for the staff you've let go. For the staff that you've actually let go, are you
yes.
engaged?
Yeah, no, look, we are keeping engaged with them, but also with this JobKeeper program. There's that opportunity to also bring a lot of them back, even if they're not working. I think, what is it, government sort of using us, which we're happy to be used for, like as a city link, really.
We're Centrelink all of a sudden, right? We're distributing the dole for the government, which is awesome. I think it's a great use.
Correct, and it's a great idea, because then, you know, it's good for us, it's good for the staff, it's good for the government, and it gives, you know, them millions of more opportunities to get this cash out to people, which would have been actually really quite difficult.
Oh, I think you've turned your video off too, just to let you know.
No, it wasn't me. It was a call's coming through. Hang on, that's all right. I told them I'm in a meeting. I'll call back.
We've got a couple more there. What are you doing to power out the other side? Have you got a specific strategy in mind to when the other side is identifiable, and you've got are there plans forming yet?
There is plans forming yet. You know, we've all gone through. The first stage is reaction. So, you know, we've had, obviously, as I said, an atomic bomb landed on us. So it's been reaction. Now we're actually coming to the point where we sort of know where everything sits, and we're now going into planning. Okay, so, and obviously the plans have to move too, because you go, okay, we're planning for 3 months. Are we planning for 6 months? You dropping me. You know, we're planning. So we actually, it's in some respects quite difficult, because what are you planning for? So, you know, but the tech guys have got more time to spend time on tech. You know, we've got number of programs that can actually be fast tracked that weren't normally a priority. Now they're a priority, whether it's, you know, app ordering for some of our other brands or other sort of things that we're using.
Yeah, well, you're probably pretty lucky. Our business, I run a curious business. An investment business is, I have expenses every month, but I get a revenue check every 3 or 4 years. It's a really curious business. So we're not that affected, to be honest. Obviously, it's probably improving terms. Things are cheaper because obviously there's some cash issues out there, which is interesting. But for the most part, it's like, well, you know, if this lasts more than a couple of years, then we're in trouble. We're all in trouble. That happens, holy dooly. So we're not that badly affected. We're sort of curiously so.
So then with you then, because obviously, you know, you're in a fortunate position to be, you know, have the business you have. So what opportunities are you seeing? Because this is also a time which, when you read the papers of In Review, is a time where people actually can really make a lot of money out of this on the other side of it. You know, you don't have many of these type of, you know, scenarios and disasters, and there's people that do actually make a massive difference. So what are your sort of plans?
We don't want to be seen as being opportunistic, because we have to survive this and have to have reputation after this. We're not going out to bottom feed. The term I actually love, bottom feeding. But at the same time, we believe that we buy equities from companies, and that's a market, and that's informed by both sides of the market. So there is a softening in price, that's for sure.
But it's not even, I don't even see it as bottom feeding, because in actual fact, the business has fundamentally changed, and you're actually valuing in the risk. And the risk is that the businesses may not go back to the levels that they were. I mean, we don't know. This is a really unusual situation.
There's a difference between, and this is no criticism, this is just commentary, between probably how you invest and I invest. I'm somewhat of a low conviction investor. Whereas, like, given your operational, the way you operate businesses, you're a high conviction investor. You really get stuck in and you work on a business and make it successful. Whereas we take bets, we take small bets on really good teams and founders more than you do, I think, if you know what I mean. So we're a bit more sanguine in our approach to that, I think, to be honest. So we have to dial the founders in with a bit of equity to make them work harder for us, essentially. So that's still one of our things that we take into account. I want to finish off with one thing. You are an amazing lady. You're such a respected entrepreneur and operator in Australia. There's a lot of people doing it tough out there at the moment. Do you have, hello, Doggy, there you go. Do you have one piece of advice, or do you have some words of comfort for people out there who they've got the demand letter from the landlord, they've got staff leaving and they've got no revenue? What can you say that might assist there, Janine?
Look, I think the reality is, if I can stop my dog from actually interrupting, the reality is we're all a bit having positive and negative thoughts all the time at the moment. So we go from, it'll be fine, we'll get through this, to, oh my God, what if we're not? So just so you know, it's actually normal. And he's grabbing my cord, sorry.
He's a puppy, he's nice.
I know, he's a puppy. So it's actually a normal reaction to have a multiple amount of emotions all at the same time. It's normal. But the reality is, it will actually pass. We know that this isn't a forever thing. It's not like it's going to last for, we know it's going to last for a while. We know, but it's not going to last for 2 years. It's not going to last for 18 months. It's going to be somewhere between 3 months to 12 months of serious pain. So know that. So I think once you actually go, okay, that's the worst case scenario, it will be fine. You know, you will rebuild. This will be something, this will just be a nightmare that we talk about in 12 months' time. In the meantime, love the people around you. You know, in the meantime, you know, just do what you can do. You know, they talk about stress and going, if you can do something about it, do it. If you can't, don't stress about it. And it's easier said than done when you see your, sorry, my son calling me. Here we go. Easier said than done when you see your businesses that, you know, I've worked 20 years to develop, to go from, you know, hero to zero. But I know that the business will be fine, because fundamentally there's nothing wrong with the business. And that's what you need to know. You know your business is fundamentally stable. That's fundamentally a good business. It's just this thing that's out of all of our control. So I think just be positive. I think it's easier said than done, but just every day find something to be happy about.
I found myself being somewhat apathetic about the whole thing, and which is a curious emotion. But I think that, and a saying my dad told me as a kid, it's like, you're not Robinson Crusoe. You're not the only person. So if you can take anything from this, it's like we're all in the same boat. So, you know, the sun's going to come up. You're not in this alone. To your point, you know, just do what you love, you know, be a good person and do the right thing. You know, end of the day, do the right thing. You can at least look at yourself in the mirror, right?
I think the final thing is, no, we are so lucky, Steve. We're in Australia.